Kiss 106, all the hits, and now it's time for Nino's movie review of the week. And this week's movie review is of Game of Thrones, the season 8 finale, the series finale. And a lot of people are up in arms about the way Game of Thrones ended. And I had to actually binge watch the whole series over the past, I would say, couple of weeks. My wife and I have been kind of binge watching over the past couple of weeks, and I've been trying to avoid all of the spoilers and all the reviews and stuff for this the series finale, so I could give my own unadulterated opinion. I gotta say, I would have ended the series finale a little bit differently, especially starting with the way that Jon Snow just walked up to the Queen of Dragons and just stabbed her in the stomach. You know, they did all of that crying and whimpering and whining and all that kind of stuff. And the imp was trying to convince Jon Snow to stand up for his right to claim the throne, to stand up to the queen of the mother of dragons and everything, which is technically his aunt that he's been falling in love with. Oh, there's a whole bunch of incest and crazy stuff going on in that show. But what I would have done, instead of having him just walk up to her and just act like he loves her and going to miss her and then just stab her out of the blue, which really made no sense whatsoever, why didn't he just enforce? I would have had him enforce his right to claim the Iron Throne. He was the legitimate heir. He had no reason to just walk up to her and just stab her out of the blue like that. You know, I know he was mad at her, the Queen of Dragons, for burning down the city entirely and burning up innocents and, saying she took it too far and everything. She was starting to go the way of her father, the Mad King, and everything. But he could have handled that totally differently. They could have had him assert his right to the throne, him and the Queen of Dragons get into their little fight and everything, blah, 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 and then maybe one of the Unsullied tries to come to her rescue and Jon Snow defeats him and he actually asserts his right to claim the Iron Throne. But just having to walk up and stab her like that, I was like, that just seemed like a cop-out, like they just really didn't have any other way to end the series. John, he could have claimed his, he did all of that. I don't want the throne. I don't want the throne. I didn't want to be king. I don't want this. I don't want that. But then ends up just walking up to his aunt, who he's supposed to be in love with, and just stabs her. And then he goes to jail. Why did they put him in jail after that? He has the right to the throne. He's the heir to the Targaryen throne. He was the rightful son, so I don't understand why he had to, one, sneak up and try to do it sneakily to try to stab her, and two, how did he end up in jail when he was the rightful king? So I would have ended that series totally different. Maybe have Jon Snow and the Queen of Dragons get some kind of conflict going on and then have them settle it out and then have him ended up being the king of the 6 kingdoms as it ended up, and not the 7 kingdoms. It would have been the 7 kingdoms had he asserted his right to the throne, because his sister was taking over the north, so that would have united all 7 kingdoms right there. Everything would have been copacetic and united, and we wouldn't have had all of that who's going to be the next king stuff at the end. I think that was just kind of unnecessary right there. It was trying to find some kind of soft closure to it, but I think they should have made Jon the king at the end of the series throughout all of that, when he ended up just going back up to the wall on the watch to be the king of the Night Watch anyway. So that's my opinion. That's how I would have ended Game of Thrones. I wouldn't have had, I would have had Arya Stark kill the queen that was in the Iron Throne. I forgot the name, but the brother and sister, they were having a little relationship. But I would have had Arya Stark kill the Mad Queen in order to end the reign, and I would have had Jon Snow kill the Queen of Dragons that way. But it just kind of twisted it a little way, and it kind of petered out at the end to me, and it was kind of a anti-climactic ending to the whole series. But that's just my opinion. That's how I would have ended Game of Thrones, a little bit more exciting and everything. I liked when the dragon burned down the throne and cried at the loss of his mother and everything. That was a good thing to do. Oh, my alarm was going off, but I hate it when that happens in the middle of the review, but it happens. But that's how I would have ended. I would have had Jon Snow kill the Queen of Dragons. I would have had Arya Stark kill the Mad Queen, and I would have had I like the way that the mountain was killed by his little brother when they jumped out through through the window into the fire. So how would you have ended Game of Thrones? Were you happy with the way it ended, or do you think it just petered out? Do you think they just phoned in the ending? Let me know, 1-888-454-KISS, or leave your comments in the comment box below. My next movie review is going to be on the new movie Brightburn, when evil finds its superhero.